Jack Reacher Never Go Back is a sequel to 2012's Jack Reacher and stars Tom Cruise as the title character. The story of this film is that badass drifter Jack Reacher is on his normal drifting ways, and he finds out that a major from his former area, the military, has been arrested for a crime she did not commit. Now he has to go and figure out who actually committed the crime, basically prove her innocence, as well as to deal with a girl who possibly could be his daughter. Now, I loved the first Jack Reacher film. I loved it so much that it got me to start reading the book series, which I've read a couple of them. I have not read all of them. So I went into this film very fresh-minded. I didn't expect a whole lot. Well, I expected a whole lot based on the last movie that I liked a lot. But on this one, but being a fan of the books, I didn't really expect a whole lot because there is quite a difference between the books and the movies. By far, one of the best things about this movie is actually Tom Cruise himself. Love him or hate him, he actually does a great job, in my opinion, of his version of Jack Reacher. It may not be like book accurate like some other castings may be, like how Ryan Reynolds is born to play Deadpool, but he does a great version of the character. He does he brings something to the character that you don't really expect, because Jack Reacher is supposed to be like this big badass guy. Tom Cruise is like this little badass guy. Now, Jack Reacher's roles are not nearly as physically demanding as, say, Mission Impossible, but he does do a great amount of his own stunts, which is really impressive considering the guy is like 54 years old. Colby Smulders also joins Tom Cruise in the casting of this film as the major that needs Jack Reacher's help. She does a pretty good job, but it's really hard for me, I don't know why, especially with her, for me to disconnect her from being Robin from How I Met Your Mother or Maria Hill from the MCU. I pretty much just spent the entire film waiting for Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury to round a corner and basically kick everybody's ass for her and Jack Reacher, because Nick Fury knows about everything, so why wouldn't he know that Maria Hill's in trouble, right? But that didn't happen. The performances were kind of okay. Tom Cruise again was the best part. Colby Smulders did a pretty decent job. But other than that, there wasn't really any big noticeable performances from this film. It's very much focused on those two, especially obviously Jack Reacher. It is his movie. But other than that, the story it's sort of passable, and that's where this film starts to get into a bit of a gray area. Now, in my opinion, this is the story that should not have followed the 2012 film. Now, Jack Reacher, in case you do not know, is written by Lee Childs. He has written 20, I repeat, 20 Jack Reacher novels. You could have chosen from any of those novels, and I think they may have chosen possibly one of the worst stories. Again, I have not read all of the Jack Reacher books. I've read about 5 or 6, but there are much better stories than Never Go Back. For instance, the girl that is introduced to possibly be Jack Reacher's daughter in this storyline, that happens in I looked it up, book number 18. This is book number 18 of the 20 books that have already come out. It took 18 books for them to finally sort of run out of stories to bring in a kid that could possibly be Jack Reacher's daughter. And I don't know why they felt the necessity to bring that story onto the big screen as the second film. I feel like that's the kind of story, like in the books, that should take a long time to develop. Maybe if you start running out of ideas, but not on the second film. But they chose to go with Never Go Back and bring in a very, very weak story of a possible girl who may or may not be Jack Reacher's daughter. And that felt like a bit of a ploy. Like, it never really felt like something that they should have gone for. Maybe it was just they were trying to bring in a more diverse audience. Oh, there's some teenage angsty girl in this film. Maybe that'll bring in more people. I don't know what their demographic was, but I think they kind of went with the wrong story, and that just sort of resulted in a sort of okay movie. As for the making of this film, it was definitely choppy. There were a lot of unnecessary scenes, a lot of unnecessary dialogue, especially involving like Colby Smulders and Jack Reacher. Like, there weren't really a whole lot of good moments where they tried to push comedy in certain areas where it just didn't belong. Also, there's a lot of additional scenes that just don't make any sense. For instance, there's a scene where something happens, they flash back like 5 minutes, they do quick cuts of what happened in those 5 minutes, and then they're back to present time. It just didn't make any sense as to why show us that, when we sort of already got the idea based on what just happened in the film with the jump of 5 minutes. Also, something that really bothered me about this film, and maybe it was just me that noticed, but there's a point where Jack Reacher steals one of the bad guy's phones to make a call. On this cell phone, one of the most recent calls was literally 555-123. I don't know what the production team was doing. Could they have not made up a John Doe fake name for 2 seconds in a contact list to at least give us the impression that maybe these people actually talk to human beings. No, they used the most cliche phone number ever. It wasn't, we could have gone more cliche and done 555-5555. No, they went 555-1234. They put zero effort into the production. I don't know who hired this team, but that was a bad idea. Anyway, the grade that I'm going to give Jack Reacher Never Go Back is a C. This film was definitely a disappointment for me. I was really hoping for a Jack Reacher sequel. As soon as this first one ended, I was really excited. I was so in love with the character, the story, how badass it was, and then they followed up with maybe one of the weakest stories of the entire series. I mean, the first film got me so interested in Jack Reacher, I started reading the novels. And why would I read the novels if I want to know more? And you sort of gave me the weakest story, especially when I've read, again, 5 or 6 of these novels, and they were actually really, really good. It captivated my imagination. There were good twists. There were great things happening in this series, and you chose a terrible story that was 18th in the 20-book series so far. That's not the best choice when there's so many more popular of the series that would have been so much better adapted for the big screen. So guys, that's my review for Jack Reacher Never Go Back. If you've seen it, let me know, as well as what your favorite book to film adaptation is. I think I've asked this question maybe before, but since Jack Reacher, again, like my last review as well as this review, is about books to movie adaptations, let me know what your favorite one has been. Thank you guys so much for watching. You really are the best. Also, don't forget to check out my Inferno review, which I just posted, as well as look forward to my Girl on the Train review, another book to film adaptation, which I may be asking the same question again in that one, but we'll see how that goes if I'm prepared for it. Also, be on the lookout this weekend for my first Cinema Showdown, which I'm really excited to be posting. Worked really hard on that, so make sure you hit that big subscribe button down below so you can be sure to check that out as well. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching. You really are the best, and I'll see you in the next one.